Ethan Mayer's eyelids fluttered against sunlight that had no business being so bright. He remembered going to sleep in his apartment overlooking Midtown, the whir of traffic drowning out the old wall clock. But when he finally sat up, the mattress beneath him was gone, traded for cool asphalt. He was in the middle of Lexington Avenue, alone, wearing the same tailored suit he'd worn to yesterday's closing meeting. No cars, no voices, no distant horns, just blocks of silent glass and steel rising in every direction. The city felt hollowed out, like a set abandoned after the cameras stopped rolling. A lone breeze pushed an empty coffee cup down the street with a hollow skitter. Ethan's first instinct was to check his phone. No signal, battery icon dead, though he remembered charging it overnight. He tried a passing car door. It was locked, keys absent. Panic stuttered at the edge of his consciousness, but years of negotiating mergers under crushing time limits had trained him to quarantine fear behind reason. First, verify reality, then strategize, he told himself. That was when he noticed the nearest billboard. "Welcome, Ethan Mayer." The giant LED screen beamed in crisp cobalt letters. "You are late." Late for what? Ethan took a tentative step forward. The billboard flickered, shifting to a new message. Task 1. Enter the bodega at 40th and 3rd. Destroy the back-office computer. Failure means forfeiture. Forfeiture of what? Before he could form the thought, another billboard, halfway down the block, pulsed to life. Hostage count, 3. Time remaining, 58:26. Ethan's throat went dry. "Hostage?" he croaked to no one. Behind him, another sign flared on a rooftop. "They are innocent. Do not disappoint them." A sudden clang echoed from inside a nearby service alley. Just a settling pipe, maybe, yet it flooded Ethan with dread. He sprinted north, shoes slapping pavement, desperate for any sign of human life. He shouted, "Hello, anyone?" Only the hollow reverb of his own voice answered. Reaching 42nd felt impossible on foot, but the streetlights synced their displays like wayfinding lights on a runway. Each marquee switched to arrows pointing him east, each ticking off the minutes. He reached the bodega 5 minutes later, lungs burning. Its roll-down gate hung halfway open, as though someone had fled mid-closure. Inside, the air was stale, sticky with a faint smell of spoiled milk. Rows of chips sagged on their hooks like wilted leaves. But the back-office door stood ajar, blue glow spilling out. A beige desktop computer sat on a metal desk, whirring forlornly. Ethan hesitated. Destroy, the instruction had said. Was it real? Was any of this real? He picked up a dusty baseball bat leaning beside a mop bucket. With one decisive swing, he smashed the computer tower. Sparks spat, fluorescent ceiling bulbs flickered, and a fuse popped somewhere overhead. The screen died, followed by total darkness. Instantly, a siren-like tone erupted outside. Ethan stumbled into the front aisle. Across the street, a billboard broadcast. Task 1 complete. Hostage count, 3 time remaining, 47:52. The number of hostages hadn't dropped. Confusion clawed at him until he noticed smaller text in red. Release in progress. A single line beneath it scrolled. Little girl, age 8, safe. Ethan pressed a trembling palm to his mouth, equal parts relief and revulsion. He had no proof a child existed, but the possibility kept his knees from buckling. Another task letterboxed across the screen. Task 2. Go to the rooftop of the City Guard building. You will find a briefcase. Throw it off the south edge. No looking inside. The City Guard building towered 10 blocks away, an ultra-modern glass prism Ethan knew from client parties. The elevators apparently were still powered. The lobby doors parted as he approached. Inside, motion sensor lights guided him past deserted security desks. The silence was even heavier here, oppressive under vaulted ceilings designed for echoes of morning bustle. He jabbed the elevator's up button. A chime answered, and the doors slid open to reveal an immaculate interior. As he ascended, floor numbers ticked up with glacial calm. His reflection on stainless steel walls looked ghostly, sweat slick and disheveled. On the roof, wind whipped his tie over his shoulder. At the helipad's center rested a silver briefcase, handcuffed to a railing. A small key dangled from the shackle. Ethan unlocked it and hefted the case. Surprisingly light. He considered opening it anyway. What if it contained something harmless? But every screen had stressed no peeking. He stepped to the south edge, peering down 50 stories to the narrowed artery of Lexington below. "Damn it," he whispered, pulse hammering. The task was insane. Yet somewhere, maybe, 2 more hostages depended on him. He unclasped his hand and let the briefcase drop. Gravity ripped it away. It shrank into a speck, then vanished behind an awning. Multiple signs lit across adjacent rooftops like dominoes igniting. Task 2 complete. Hostage count 2. Time remaining 34:19. Again in red. Middle-aged man 42 safe. Ethan exhaled sharply. Hostage count had fallen. Proof enough to keep moving, but a sick guilt pooled in his stomach. He'd obeyed without question. What if the briefcase contained medicine, a cure, someone's lifeline? He leaned on the railing until his knuckles blanched, trying to quell the moral vertigo. The next instruction surged across every visible screen, large enough to fill the sky. Task 3. Enter the Federal Reserve Vault and withdraw exactly $1,000 in small bills. Place them in the fountain at Columbus Circle. Failure means death for hostage and consequences for you. Ethan's breath froze. He had worked inside that vault. The idea of robbing it staggered him. Still, if the city remained deserted, maybe security was nil. But how long would that last? And why only small bills? It felt theatrical, almost ritualistic. He re-entered the elevator, mind shuffling logistics. His employee badge might still grant access. If not, maybe the vault's procedures were suspended in whatever nightmare this was. Traversing 20 blocks took 20 minutes at a jog. Times Square, normally pulsing, stood inert. Neon animated only to yell at him, "Keep going, Ethan." At the reserve's perimeter, the gate stood ajar. Inside, fluorescent lights hummed. No guards, no alarms. The place looked half-built, wires hanging like vines. Ethan approached the steel vault door, and to his astonishment, the locking wheel turned under minimal effort. Once inside, he located stacks of cash bundled on steel shelves. Apparently, someone had pre-selected his haul. At eye level, shrink-wrapped bricks of 20s equaled 1 million. A sticky note labeled "Take Me" fluttered atop them. He loaded the bricks into an empty duffel bag tucked on a cart. The final brick brought its weight to maybe 50 pounds, manageable. As he zipped the bag, a whisper leaked from the ceiling speakers. "We see you." Ethan jolted, heart racing, but no other sound followed. He sprinted out, duffel banging his thigh with each stride. By the time he reached Columbus Circle, the sun hung low. Pigeons flapped across the empty plaza. The fountain's water still sprayed in fragile arcs. He dumped the cash, brick after brick, into the shallow basin. Currency soaked quickly, darkening to swampy green. When the last bundle splashed, digital billboards on surrounding buildings erupted. Task 3 complete. Hostage count. 1 time remaining. 12:03. The red banner scrolled. Woman 37 safe. Only 1 hostage left. 10 minutes felt desperately tight. Ethan shouted at a screen, "What's next? Tell me!" They obliged. Final task. Return to where you woke. Kneel. Confess your worst crime. Aloud. Do not lie. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had no time to decode motives. He sprinted south through skeletal streets. Night threatened, lengthening shadow canyons between skyscrapers. His dress shoes pinched, but he ignored the pain. At Lexington and 54th, the mattress still sat absurdly in the center of the street. Billboards ringing the intersection displayed synchronized countdown. 04:12, 04:11. Ethan dropped to his knees, lungs searing. The road rasped his skin through slacks. "Okay," he panted. unsure if the city had ears. My worst crime? He swallowed. The worst? He'd done plenty of unscrupulous things. Insider whisper deals, falsified projections, layoffs to pad shareholder happiness. But one memory detonated behind his eyes. The Riverstone merger. 3 years ago, his team discovered the smaller firm's pension fund had a liquidity hole. Revealing it would collapse the acquisition, so Ethan buried the report. Weeks after the deal closed, Riverstone's retirees lost everything. Some rumors said a few took their own lives. Ethan had filed the blood-red folder under non-material risk and gone home early to celebrate with champagne. He looked up at the billboards, each ticking under 2 minutes. "I covered up the pension deficit during the Riverstone deal," he shouted. His voice cracked, echoing like a confession in cathedral walls. "I knew retirees would suffer. I did it anyway. For a bonus, for a promotion, for ego. That's my worst crime." The countdown paused at 01:19, numbers freezing. A new line blossomed. "Thank you for your honesty. Yet one more step is required." Ethan's spine chilled. He tried to stand, but invisible weight glued him. What step? In the intersection's center, a streetlight flickered on, spotlighting a small steel box the size of a lunch pail. Text on the nearest sign blared, "Open the box, retrieve pistol, put the barrel under your chin, final hostage walks free when you pull the trigger." Ethan stumbled backward, blood draining from his face. "No," he whispered. The billboard's numbers resumed. 01 on 18, 01 17. The gun in the box meant they demanded total sacrifice. His death would cleanse. Who? The hostages? Himself? Or was it spectacle for some watching entity? Ethan's sweating palms trembled as he reached for the lid. Inside lay a matte black pistol, single bullet visible in the chamber. Alongside it, a glossy photograph. His younger sister Lila, bound to a chair, fear pouring from her widened eyes. Hostage count, last read one. Lila was the final hostage. Ethan's mouth fell open. Lila lived in San Francisco, worlds away from his financial labyrinths. Yet there she was, time-stamped 10 minutes earlier. Under the photo, a note in familiar curving script, his own, he realized, read, "She trusted you." He grasped the gun. Its weight anchored every nerve. The billboard's digits shrank, 045, 044. "Please," Ethan begged to the sky. "Choose me, free her without this." But the screens only shouted the seconds. Memories avalanched, teaching Lila to ride a bike, sneaking her into Mets games, wiring her first rent deposit. She'd called him heroic. He'd believed her. Now heroism demanded an ultimate cost. Yet another voice argued, what if they lied? What if his death didn't save her? Corporate chess had taught him minimum moves for maximum leverage, and here every move ended him. Yet inaction risked her life. Ethan's lungs filled with knives of panic. "You're 30, 0029. He raised the pistol. Cold metal against clammy skin. Finger on trigger. He inhaled a shallow breath, focusing on Lila's face in the photo, eyes pleading, not accusing. This is the ledger, he thought, the final audit. But as tension built in his finger, he noticed small print on the photo's backside, reflected faintly in fountain light. You can still negotiate. Negotiate? His domain. Ethan's mind ignited. He lowered the gun just enough. "I'm listening," he shouted. The countdown halted again at 018. New words, offer terms. Heart thrashing, Ethan spoke quickly. "Take me alive, but punish me publicly. Expose my crimes. Seize my assets for victims. Let my sister go." He waited. Silence. Billboards dark. Seconds frozen. After a long moment, a single word appeared. "Counteroffer. Permanent servitude. Your life devoted to repairing damage you caused. Begin immediately." Lila walks free. Servitude? What did that mean in a city with no people? But the alternative still gleamed cold in his hand. "I accept," he roared. The pistol's magazine ejected automatically, clattering on asphalt. In the same instant, every streetlight brightened as though sunrise occurred at once. The photo of Lila sublimated into white ash that lifted on wind. Screens updated. Final hostage released. Service commencing. The city stirred. Lights in skyscraper windows flicked on floor by floor. Subway grates exhaled warm gusts. Doors unlocked with metallic clicks, as if unseen caretakers restored the metropolis. Viewing a nearby screen, Ethan read new instructions. Report to the old post office. Debts begin there. Ethan rose on shaky legs, pistol discarded. He breathed the city's new hum, still absent of voices, yet buzzing with possibility. He limped toward 8th Avenue, each billboard he passed now quiet. But behind him, at the intersection where he'd knelt, the mattress vanished, replaced by the briefcase he'd dropped earlier. Its lid lay open, revealing a single drenched $20 bill taped inside and a handwritten note. First payment. Ethan pressed onward, unsure if redemption was possible, unsure who orchestrated these tests or how they watched. But the bargaining table was set, and he was the only one seated. For the first time in his career, the stakes were not bonuses or quarterly returns. They were lives, starting with his own reclaimed one. Beneath the looming facade of the old post office, a new billboard blinked alive. Welcome to Day 1, Ethan Mayer. He inhaled, squared his shoulders, and stepped through the doorway, ready to audit the debts of a lifetime.